Hello, everybody. This is CJ Wiley. Hope all of you are doing good. My friends, hustlers, future world champions, and anyone else that wants to learn about the days of the road player. I got a message after my last video that someone wanted to hear about Denny Searcy, and he wasn't the first one that had asked. Several people through the years have asked me if I knew Denny Searcy and if we'd ever played, and I mentioned it, I think, in one of my videos. He was in Charlotte, North Carolina. I believe originally from California. I had heard Omaha John talk about him, and like Keith McCready that was in The Color of Money, and Jimmy Reed and Cole Dixon, all playing pay ball, which was six ball on a snooker table with pool balls, and they would play these ring games. And I think it's a matter of opinion. Jimmy Reed, I think, maybe was the best pay ball player, but all those others I mentioned, Searcy and Wade Crane, Billy Johnson, and Searcy were good friends. But again, Charlotte is where he was known to live a lot of his life anyway, and that's where I did play him. I was with Sharkey from Albemarle, North Carolina, which is, I don't know, about an hour and a half east of Charlotte by the PD River. I've told the story about beating Sharkey out of a little over 6,000 and then staying around there and getting robbed at gunpoint out on a picnic table with two other guys by a gunman that had a nylon over his face, looked like the devil himself. I still remember what that guy looked like with that nylon over his face. It's something I don't really want to see again. If I do, I'm going to shoot first. So Sharky and I went over to the pool room there in Charlotte where Searcy was hanging out, and I was only 18 years old, so I'd heard those stories from Omaha John, and I knew of Searcy's reputation as a money player. He wasn't really a tournament player, he was a money player, and those are the ones that I respected the most, were the ones that could battle in the back rooms for the big cash, and he was one of them. So he wouldn't give me a ball spot, but we ended up arranging a game where I got 6-5 on the money. So we were betting $120 to $100. So when I won $120 each game. When he won $100, which if I win, 6 out of 11 games, basically, or I got to win 5 out of 11 games to break even. So when I got into the game, I thought it was a pretty big spot for some reason, but I didn't take into account what we call the feint factor, because I was intimidated and I didn't really know it. Like most people, you don't know it till you actually get into the game. Like I've had people say that I'm not intimidated, or Earl Strickland isn't intimidated or intimidating, and I laugh because even the greatest players won't make statements like that because the minute you start taking that position, some negative things are probably going to happen. So anyway, we played, and Searcy was the first one I saw use a pretty small shaft on his cue stick. It was about a 12 and a quarter, or maybe even 12. And back then I was using 12 and 3/4 or even 13. Back in the old days, guys used 13s, and now I know it's a pretty big disadvantage. Maybe not on a smaller table. The rule of thumb is the bigger the table, the smaller the shaft. So you can use a bigger shaft on a bar table because you don't need that extra spin, the quick English. As the tables get bigger, I have found that the shaft size is more effective smaller. So I think I played my best pool with a shaft that was a size it was a shy 12 millimeters, so it was maybe 11 and 3/4 or, close to 12, somewhere in there. And there's a lot of players now using 11 and 3/4. I think Shane Van Boening just won the world championships with one, but I'm not sure. I wasn't there to measure his. Anyway, so that might be something to experiment with. If you're having trouble with your game and you're using a 12 and 3/4 or a 13, just maybe try a 12 and a quarter and see how it works. And it may give you the advantage that I saw Searcy had, because one thing that he did against me was he would spin cut balls in with amazing accuracy. So back then we're playing 2-shot push out. Nobody ever played one foul for money. Not the real gamblers. We'd laugh and say, "We're not kicking at our money. Are you crazy?" So he would roll out to these real thin cut shots, and I'd have him shoot it again, and he would spin and cut those balls in like backwards. And like I said, it was intimidating, and I was intimidated. And it's best to admit that. I don't think I did at the time, but now I know it's better to embrace stuff like that. If you have a fear of something, you need to embrace it. Don't run from it, and figure out a way to get used to the situation. And the more I played under pressure, the better I got at it. Like right now, I'm not that fine-tuned competitively, even though I'm playing a little bit more than I usually do. But there's just not enough action these days. Plus, playing the one foul 9-ball or 10-ball, it's just not that interesting to me compared to the 2 foul. I could write a book on 2 foul, I've said many times, and I can only write a chapter on 1 foul. And that means 1 foul ball in hand is what I'm saying. The other rules, you always pushed out, and your opponent would have the option of taking the shot or giving it back to you. So anyway, Searcy ended up beating me out of 600 or 700, which I was in with Sharky. I can't remember if he was staking me or not, but Sharky's the one that I ended up finding out. I think he killed his girlfriend, or she shot herself in the back of the head with a shotgun, one or the other. So I was staying at his house, and I'm also pretty sure he's the one that had me robbed with the guy with the nylon. So, so when I was 18, 19 years old, I was definitely fearless. I used to go in these all black pool rooms and play, and I'd go in these redneck places and play, and Asian places and play. It didn't make any difference to me. I just always went in like I owned the place, and I just always thought that, it's like a bluff when you're as young as I was, and as confident. Actually, they always will take notice. I think a lot of them thought that I had somebody watching out for me. There was maybe in the place or watching from outside or something like that. But anyway, so Denny Searcy was definitely one of the best money players of that era. And like I said, Jimmy Reed and Cole Dixon and Keith McCready and Buddy Hall, and Alan Hopkins, of course. Lots of great players. Nick Varner back then. And that's who I learned from by watching and playing and just, talking with them. I got several points from guys like Nick Varner once said to me. He was like in thought. He came up. He said, "CJ, you ever notice how many shots you can shoot like they're straight in that aren't straight in?" And I said, "Yeah, I have noticed that." And I know he was trying to figure it out, and I really hadn't given it much thought. But, I reached a point in my career where I shot everything like they were straight in, either straight into the center of the object ball or to the edge. And I show how to do that in my website, on my website, www.cjwiley.com, and under Precision Pool Drills. That's a really good part of that website to do as much as you can to strengthen your stroke and also your precision and alignment in going down on the balls as if you've already made them. That's the secret, to go down on every shot as if you've already made it. Now, that's easier said than done because there's a physical process that you got to know to be able to do it. And that's what I pass on. I learned it, and I feel good about sharing that, especially with the younger up and coming players. I'm going to be working with somebody later on this evening that fits that category. So, anyway, till next time, this is CJ Wiley. Over and out.